Welcome to In My Experience. I am your host, Sonya Lee.
And I am Piperlyne.
Also your host.
Also your host, yes. Thank you.
And today we thought we'd talk a little bit about meditation.
Right? How many times have we talked about meditation? I mean, mentioned it.
Well, yeah, we've mentioned it.
Yes.
I think the first time we've actually said more than just when I meditate, right. Or a meditation I got.
Absolutely.
So what sort of brought us to this conversation today was we have tried a lot of different kinds of meditation over the years, guided meditations, self-meditations, we've led meditations. And every once in a while we'll come across something that was a little different or fun or cheeky, and we'll share it with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day I had said meditation and shared it with her, and we both, it was a different technique than I had done before. And we both found it very enlightening. And it was like, there's just so many different kinds of meditation you can do. And they're not a one size fits all. And we thought maybe talking about it would help you to hang in there. A lot of people will try meditation and it doesn't work. And so they give it up, or they say they can't meditate. And, maybe at the end of the day today, or the end of this podcast, you'll go out and explore some of the different types and find a meditation that suits you.
Right. Now, there's so many different options and access to those different options. I mean, we've talked before something as simple as the Calm app.
Yeah.
Right? Something that simple. So there's so many things available to all of us to help us to find what works for us. And I mean, here we both have been meditating for decades each. And
we were children.
And we've done different things along the way. And then we both gained more experience and technique in guided visualizations, which is also a type of meditation, our training in hypnotherapy, and then just further work that we've done personally. And I don't think that we can express how much of a benefit this has been to our physical lives, our mental, emotional lives, and our spiritual lives.
Right. Not to say that we haven't, or at least me, I won't pull you down with me. There have been times, though, where I have resisted my meditating.
Oh, absolutely.
Or I have just stopped for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing, though, that I absolutely cannot argue is the fact that when I do, no matter what it is, if I just allow myself to go there, it is always beneficial.
Right. Well, one of the biggest challenges, honestly, one of the biggest challenges I have ever had, and it's still an ongoing thing regarding meditation, is not being able to do it or get there. But of course, that's years of experience. For the most part, it's falling asleep.
Oh.
Because I have, especially recently, just because of my life being a parent and the lack of sleep that has been involved in my life, that there have been many times where I will simply go into meditation. If I am not sitting up, I will fall asleep. And I know that I have had clients and students say the same thing, and I've experienced it, right? In leading group meditations, there's always at least one or two that snores.
Yes, they do.
And so in one thing to address that, I have come to the awareness that because the intention is there and the movement towards that is there. Maybe the state of your body is sleep because that's what it needs the most. But that does not mean that you are not receiving other good things, even if you do fall asleep.
Right. And I've said sometimes those are, those are my travelers, they get down, they go, and then they just boop, leave their body for a while and come back, later. I don't fall asleep. I like to lay down to meditate, but I don't usually fall asleep because I think it's just because I'm so hyperactive. The other thing is I used to work nights in the hospital, and on my break I would eat and then I would take a 20-minute power nap. But if you got caught sleeping on the job, you got fired.
Right.
And so, I'd go into the lounge or an empty room or something, and I would tell the nurse, hey, I'm just going to go, close my eyes here for 15 minutes, let me, give me a holler if I'm not back. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. But I, had some trust issues. So I just, wanting to make sure that somebody didn't get busy with a patient and then forget about me. I just learned how to task my brain to only sleep for 20 minutes. And then something inside of me says, wake up, and I wake up.
Right.
And so I am the queen of the 20-minute power nap. I can go a whole nother, 12 hours with a 20-minute power nap. I don't recommend it. I don't like it anymore, but I learned how to do that in my 20s.
Well, it's something else with meditation that it's been proven, specifically Yoga Nidra being studied, that it's been proven that a short meditation gives you the sense of relaxation and rest that a longer nap will.
Yes, it does.
So as a way to energize, it may seem counterintuitive, but it's not.
Right, because you're giving your body the chance, your body, your mind, your system, the chance to sort of reset, to restore, reset.
Right.
It's like when you put your phone on the charger for like 10 or 15 minutes, just to give you a little extra charge. Right? Like you're not putting it on all night while you're going to bed. You're just like, I just need a little, my battery's almost dead. I'm gonna do a little 20-minute charge here while I was cracking up. I was at the airport once. This was not long after we'd started all carrying phones and laptops and all of that. And even though I have a degree in software engineering, I'm kind of late to the game technology wise. I just, anyway, that first time I went to the airport and like saw people like clamoring and fighting over this one little outlet, just like going like, you probably saw this too, having worked in there, right? You remember those days? And there'd be like 4 or 5 people. They'd be like, I just need 10 minutes. My flight's going to leave. I'm almost got no bars.
Yeah.
I just, our meditation is kind of like that, right? I just need a little 10-minute charge there. But
right.
There's a lot of
there's so many things.
Yes. Please, we're saying the same thing. Go ahead.
There's so many ways that it can be used, right? So recharging yourself just as a stress relief, a period of focus, a daily practice, and a healing process.
Right.
An intention to build your spiritual connection or spiritual evolution.
Gaining life and answers.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
That getting actual like answers.
Right.
Questions.
Right.
Which seems kind of funny because a lot of people, don't understand that without having any kind of woo to it at all. Because, you can say that, right? Well, it gives you opportunity to connect with your spirit team, and then you can ask questions. And because being still and open, you can get answers and responses. Well, that same thing works in just from a standard problem solving, right? If you're going to sit and just allow yourself to be still and clear your mind so that you can allow, and maybe it's a memory. God, where did I put my keys? Let me stop and think for a minute, right? Or, anything like that, right? Wait a minute, how do I do 3/4 divided by 1/2? It's not the ability to do the math equation as much as it is the ability to be able to quiet your mind so that you can, walk over to that particular file cabinet and pull that particular file card out that's got the information that you need. And that's how I use meditation a lot.
Yeah.
Is to get those answers to, because you can just have them all roiling around in your head. And at some point you just have to say, okay, I just need to stop and get clear.
Right.
And then the answers come to you.
It's kind of like, when you have to turn down the music so you can see better when you're driving.
Oh my God, is that not the truth? I don't know when that started happening to me.
But I think it's the same idea, because it slows down the sensory input that's coming at you, because that's what sound is sensory input, and trying to figure out where you're going using your eyes. It's visual sensory input. So slowing that input down so that you can then focus on the information that you are looking for. I think it's the same thing. Now, the whole needing to do it because you're old, yeah, whatever. It's true.
Well, I'm just saying, I just realized as I've gotten older, that's happened. But, I agree, because that's not necessarily the thing. I've also recently found out that we really aren't multitaskers. We think we are.
Yeah.
But it really is not. We really don't have the ability to multitask. We just have the ability to do sequential things very quickly and shift between them, which to me still says multitasking, but science is saying no. So
right. Well, and that's part of the whole idea, like behind meditation too, is it's really focusing on more than one thing at the exact same time, which would be multitasking, is stressful. Even if we're good at it, it's still having to think like this, and maybe we're naturally good at it and we're comfortable in it, but it doesn't allow the depth of experience.
You are so right. I'm glad you said that, because that is true. And, I remember also in my youth really kind of thriving and jiving on, that whole high octane type A, going at, Mach 10 life, right? And now I'm like, no.
Well, I don't have a need for that, and I prefer not to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It got to a point for me where it started feeling abusive to me.
Yeah.
I was, being a gate supervisor at at the Phoenix airport at the time, where I was managing 5 aircraft leaving at the same time and overseeing and making sure that everything that was needed to be done was going to be done on time, so that all of these planes would be leaving within 7 minutes of each other.
Right.
And that's what that was. And man, that was fun until it wasn't anymore.
Exactly.
and until it wasn't. And I thrived on it. I loved it
Oh yeah.
until I was done. And that didn't have anything to do with age. I was many, many, many years younger than
Yeah.
I am now. It was just a shift in what I found interesting.
Yes, I agree. And in, you know, you can only do that for so long anyway before it begins, right? You
Right.
can go, 20, 30,000 miles, and then you got to change your oil. I mean, you just do. That stuff starts to get thick and dark and whatever. But the meditation piece, and what's been so very interesting to me, like I know you have said that you very early on, were meditating and talking, and very consciously aware of that other energy, that other dimension.
Yeah.
I too did the same thing, except that I didn't have the conscious awareness that that was what I was doing.
Right.
Because I look back on it now and go, oh, hell yeah, that was totally a meditation right there. That was totally an altered state of consciousness. But that wasn't what I thought it was when I was doing it at the time.
Gotcha.
I was just doing, like I talked about before, right? You get in the dentist chair or the gynecologist table and you find that spot on the ceiling, and there's nothing in the world or in the universe except that spot on the ceiling, right? Or just, having moments where, I just stopped and went somewhere.
Right.
I came back.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I mean, and I think having a functional definition for meditation is a good thing. And very simply, an altered state of consciousness works.
Yep.
An altered state of awareness. And you can get there by focusing on one particular thing or intentionally trying to focus on nothing. And it just depends.
Yeah.
On who you are and the moment, I think. I've done both.
Right. Yes, you do. It's, and you're, like you said, you can be washing the dishes and your mind is just not connected to that.
Mm-hmm.
But your focus, right? You're washing dishes, you know how to wash dishes. You don't have to focus on that. But that is a focal point. And this is why I mentioned that, because you could be hiking, right?
You hear runners talk about that point when they get past the pain, and that's where that's the sweet spot.
They've got that heightened level of awareness, and that altered state of consciousness, meaning connection to their physical, opening up to things other than just the physical, right? We have 5 senses, but we really have 6 senses. And this is validated by quantum mechanics. Right. Energy is a player that gets to sit at the table now.
Right.
I was reading something on NASA's website, because I like to go to NASA because I really love it when science validates spirituality.
Oh, that was my doorway, honestly. Science was my doorway into spirituality. But yes, please continue.
And you can go onto their website and you can find things that we talk about, like solar flares, or I just saw one that happened earlier this week. There was an electron storm. Oh God, I got to find it. That just happened. Literally, it was a storm within, not within our stratosphere, but within our magnetosphere, that they recorded. They've never seen anything like this. We're going to see more of these things, because those energy waves are increasing, just like the energy of this earth is increasing, Schumann's resonance. And, you know, we are all feeling or sensing that increase in energy, because it's sort of like, you know, those sounds that only dogs can hear. And then as you go up, down that, you know, then more people can, oh, now I can hear that high pitched sound. That's exactly, it's just energy. It's just energy. So whether it's sound, whether it's, you know, electrons, neutrons, protons, whether it's things that you can actually see with your eyes closed, we are expanding in our understanding of what is in us and around us, basically. And meditation is a great tool to sort of help accelerate that, or become more familiar with those things, those energies that are around us.
Well, I think regulating them within your experience is an important part, or else it will just seem overwhelming. And, you know, and what Sonya's talking about in this point, there's nothing woo about this, right? It's not, right. This is just literally scientifically proven on various levels of how energy is affecting everything, right? It's not just us,
right?
It's everything. What is happening in our galaxy, in our universe, in our solar system affects us. And I don't know, and as we become more aware of this, I think that becoming more aware of the tool of meditation is an important process to help us get through this. Like I said, to manage it better.
Right. The other great thing about meditating is you can play with it too. So, you know, a lot of us have been locked down in our homes over the last year. Well, most all of us. And meditation is an escape route. I can be on the beach. I can be in the mountains. I can invite my friends. And it's not dream time. It's a conscious creation, a conscious construct of an altered reality that I can play with in my mind.
There's so many creative juices.
Right? And sometimes you can actually really connect with people.
Right.
I've done this and then had people call me afterwards, and I'm like, oh, hey, I was just thinking about you.
They're like, you crossed my mind and I felt like I had to call you.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
I was just saying hi. I'm sorry.
So what is one of the easiest, like, what was the first way that you ever experienced meditation?
I was in a group guided meditation, and that was the first time. I mean, I had done different things, but the first time that it was like, because of course, as soon as I started practicing meditation was when my struggle began.
Yeah. So
the first time that I was like, I had 1 moment of absolute silence in my mind. Woohoo! I was so proud of myself. For 1 minute, my brain shut the hell up. It was a beautiful thing. And it was in a guided group meditation on a Reiki weekend, Reiki certification I was doing. And I just, like I said, had that one moment of just, it was almost like being in a really stuffy room and then managing to find a side door, and you slip out the exit and you just feel that cool air hit your body. And you're like, oh man, whoo, hot on a dance floor tonight. maybe somebody can, resonate with that example. That's what it felt like. It felt like a lovely, cool breeze.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And I shifted from, I don't know if I can do this, to how do I get there again?
Right.
Kind of like a drug, a little bit,
Right.
but a drug that's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that you can abuse meditation. There are some people, it's like, yes, ask and you shall receive, and God helps those that help themselves, right? It's like, come to you sitting half lotus. You got to get up off your ass and follow the guidance and do something.
Yes.
But yeah, to be able to, and that's how it was in the beginning for me. Just shut the mind up.
Right.
And then calm the anxiety, right?
Yeah.
That was step 2. And, just how do I get out of this uncomfortable feeling and get into a more comfortable feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it was, okay, now that I can shut the mind up and I can sit in a comfortable space,
Mm-hmm.
let's start exploring. Let me look
Right.
around the joint a little bit.
Right.
What have we got here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you meet the being, you go to the dimension, you check out, an angel mansion, I don't know.
You have the conversations, you
Right.
get the information. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the experiences.
Have the releases. Sometimes you go in and, like you said, you do a healing thing, right? Those are great. And again, different stages. It's like, I know all of this, but when it shows up, it's almost like, oh yeah.
Right.
But the lovely thing is, it's like the clothes in your closet. There's always going to be a top and a bottom there for you. Maybe you take the things that, get turned around week after week, the wash and wears, and maybe sometimes you dig a little further back and you go, oh yeah, I forgot about this shirt. I'm going to wear this today.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's a beautiful opportunity to try all the options that at least you learn about or that you're aware of, to see what works for you today. But that is that is counter to some of the more traditional ways of learning and understanding meditation. So I'm totally going to throw that disclaimer out there, but that's how I work. I try everything.
Right.
And see what works. I'm not a traditionalist in anything. So
not you.
Shocking. So that may not work for everyone, but it has given me a huge sense of freedom and opportunity, and the different ways that I have used meditation. It's a very powerful tool.
So what are some ways you've used it?
Well, when I was meditating as a kid, I was basically focusing on breathing in and out, and breathing out negative energy, and breathing in light. Mm. And I would do that on a focus level until I reached a place where, I guess the best way to describe it is, I felt my body melt away. And then I'd just hang out there until, whatever, I was done. But I could spend a good deal of time in that space. And I don't really know why I started doing that. I simply started doing it. So that was my first, just using breath and visualization of black and white dots. But since then, I have used meditation for healing, to hand in hand with therapy, when I was going through therapy, to heal traumas. I created a healing space of my own. And I would go back and visit every night, or, as often, and to receive the healing that I needed.
Yeah.
Meditation was part of my pregnancy to help me through the challenges with that. Connection, and just like you said, just playing. I've had some of the most creative, beautiful, colorful, surprising experiences going into a meditation.
Yes.
So,
yes. Lovely, lovely conversations.
Yes.
That, again, too, highly entertaining. Just when I need a good laugh. Taking myself way too seriously.
There you go.
But yeah, there are just so many different benefits to it, and everybody hears about them more now than we did when for a long time for us, right?
Right.
I mean, I can remember when people were like, "Oh, you meditate," and now they're running up to me going, "Hey, I've been meditating for 6 months," and it's like, "Yay!" Right?
Yay.
So it's great. I mean, we need to teach this in schools to children. It has so many benefits: clearing the mind, reducing stress, promoting healing, boosting immunity, lowering blood pressure, decreasing pain, relieving anxiety, helping with, depression. Like we said before, giving yourself that little energy boost, by meditating for 30 minutes. If you can't sleep, just quieting the mind, it allows and gives the body, what it does is you're tricking your brain and your body into an immediate state of relaxation, similar to when you go to sleep.
Right.
And the brain and the body, if convinced of this information, doesn't know the difference.
Right.
So that's why it works, and then you realize, wow, I'm really easy to fool.
Well, welcome to the human body.
Right? I mean, like, seriously, I can remember times where I have used meditation, not knowing that's what I was doing, but gone somewhere else to avoid pain in my body because of illness or a surgery. I don't know if I shared this before or not, but there was a time I was up in Idaho. I go up there and do a woman's retreat every year, and we were at this lake up near Cascade, Idaho. And in summertime, they got yellow jackets, like serious. And my son was wearing a brightly colored shirt, and they came to him. Well, of course, he just completely freaked out. So, we ripped the shirt off through, I tucked it up under my sleeve in my crook of my arm, and then threw a jacket around him as we walked, very calmly back to the RV. And then I went to go open up the RV. And remember, I had this brightly colored thing tucked under my armpit t-shirt. And so I lifted my arm to open the door to let him get in there. And when I went to go put my arm back down, right on the yellow jacket, and I got stung in my armpit.
Ouch.
And yeah, yeah, it's been a long time. I think I was in high school the last time I got stung by a bee.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. And I knew those to be incredibly painful, and I really didn't want to relish a trip to the ER. So, of course, my family's freaking out, and we got it. And I was like, just get in the RV, just give me a Benadryl, and just be quiet, and just leave me alone for 5 minutes, okay? Right. Just don't talk to me for 5 minutes. And I sat in my seat, and I closed my eyes, and I just focused on my breath instead of the unrelenting burning and stinging in my armpit. Like if you've ever shaved and then cut yourself and then sweated, magnify that by like 20.
Yeah.
And that's what my armpit felt like at that moment.
Yeah.
And it was starting to swell and all of that. Within about 10 minutes of me meditating, and the Benadryl too, I wasn't dumb. I'm taking the pill. Give me antihistamine and I will go into an altered state of consciousness. But I stopped feeling the pain. I could feel the swelling and the stuff like moving down my arm, and then I could feel it retreating. Half an hour later down the road, I was fine. Like it was over. And that was an incredible, and it was a pretty, empowering moment for my family too, because everyone expected this was going to be our afternoon now, right? Our little doggies had gotten stung. He actually got attacked by a swarm when we had been up there on a trip previously. And the poor little guy was out for like, 10, 12 hours. It was just terrible. And again, he smaller dog and whatnot, but they're no joke. And I was just grateful to have that discipline and that practice to be able to not have to suffer.
Yes. I learned how to use meditation to help with menstrual cramps.
Oh, absolutely.
And because I had those, they were very painful, extremely painful. And, this wasn't until later that I connected the two that I could do this.
Right.
But just laying there meditating, and I could actually like literally feel, the reason I thought of it is because, you said you felt the pain moving. I felt the pain where it was moving down and out of my body.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I was completely pain-free and had no idea that I was, still menstruating. It wasn't that, but it was not, it was, I was functional. It was fine.
It was manageable.
Right. Absolutely. And that was the monks who meditate for decades and control their body temperature. And they've done studies on this, right? So they're sitting in the mountains in the winter in the Himalayas, and they throw they throw wet sheets on them, and they're able to maintain their body temperatures.
Right.
Through meditation. So that is, and how that would ever be useful in our life. Hopefully we'll never need to know how to do that. But the knowledge and the awareness that through training our minds that we can manage things like that. That's pretty damn powerful.
Yes, it is. In the 70s, my mom used to meditate. She had a girlfriend. I didn't notice what she was doing, but apparently one of the stories she tells is that there was one time that after meditation, my mom wasn't coming back, and her girlfriend got real panicked, started screaming and shaking her. And when she finally did come back, she was like, "Why are you so upset?" And she's like, "You go too deep. You were barely even breathing. Like your respirations were like 12 in a minute."
Right.
Maybe quite that bad, but it was significantly. She was like, "I'm not meditating with you anymore."
Oh, wow.
My mom actually scared her friend because she's able, but my mom's an astral projector, so she can get real far away from her body but still be connected. But that's it can that's why I say it can lower your blood pressure. It can help decrease your anxiety. You can decrease your respirations. You can actually breathe deeper as well, because you're relaxing your diaphragm, which is allowing part of the deep breathing practices. When you first start doing them, they can give you a headache, they can make you dizzy, they can make you sick,
right,
because you're not ready to breathe that long, that deep to hold. We're shallow breathers.
Right.
Not all of us, but some of us. So, but through the practice and the discipline of meditation, you can actually increase your breath. And one of the sidelines of that I realized is that I, didn't know, I can actually hold my breath underwater longer now because of my meditation and my breathing practices. A little benefit there because, I'm a good swimmer. I just can't hold my breath for super long.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it still blows me away how long, they take doing a guided meditation or your own, and you breathe, you inhale until you're full.
Yes.
You pause for a moment. It still amazes me for someone who is not an athlete, because athletes have the tendency to be able to manage their breath better through practice and exertion and that type of thing. So it still surprises me how deep I can go, how long I can inhale, and how long I can exhale. And that's a breathing practice, which is part of meditation, but not necessarily. You can just have a breathing practice. That's a yoga practice also.
But breath work can be meditative as well, though.
Yes, absolutely.
And then some other type, well, obviously there's the one that, the Beatles brought to the Western world, transcendental meditation.
Yeah. My mom practiced that.
There are guided meditations, like we said, binaural beats. There's the Silva method, the one we tried the other day, hemi sync, which is where you're using sound to balance the right and the left hemispheres of the brain. Osho Zen Dynamic, that was one I was introduced to when I said I just cannot sit and meditate. And that one is a movement meditation, and let me tell you, it's random movement, random dancing, and it is very active. It could actually be a cardio workout if you really wanted to go into it. But basically what happens is, because there's no pattern or no form or structure to your movement, it actually releases the mind from thought.
Right. Well, static dancing.
Yes.
Or, the twirling.
The whirling dervishes. Yes. That is meditative practice as well.
Absolutely.
So there's, a lot of different kinds of meditation that you can do out there. Looking at focusing on the candle,
listening to music.
Yep. I don't particularly care for and then there's of course different sound healing meditations out there as well. Singing bowls, Tom Kenyon, Jonathan Goldman, all of them. What else is there? Gosh, there's so many. Like, if one doesn't work, go try something different. And I like to just jump on YouTube and just type in meditation and just see what comes up.
And I didn't bring up the Yoga Nidra.
Oh yes, Yoga Nidra. Thank you.
Which is another one. So, which is a guided meditation, but it's a different type of guided meditation.
But it is very meditative. I mean, especially if you've got someone that's got a really nice facilitating voice. Boy, I tell you what, that's like a magic carpet ride right there.
It is a magic carpet ride.
Like my friend, she's got a great Yoga Nidra voice. So what else can I say about this? I mean, what have you got? There's so much. In fact, it's so much at times. It's like, every thought that pops about this, so it's a little formless, if you will.
Well, I think for the people who The people who are looking to start or have tried and do not feel that they have done it, my first recommendation is often a guided meditation.
Mine too.
Sometimes we just need the help to learn or to remember how to get to that space.
Right. Right.
And
And
I
have fun, take on a journey.
Right. And I think that's valid and that's fair. And the more that we, like Sonya said, she had that moment of her mind was quiet, right? And man, when you've got monkey mind, like I know I do,
Yep.
and all of a sudden it's silent in there, not silent scary, but silent like let go silent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's powerful. And if you are like Sonya or you want more. I want more of that.
Let me get back to that space because it was sweet.
So experiencing it once, there's nothing that Sonya and I could say or do that would bypass your own personal experience of it.
Absolutely. And while we could talk about that process, of meditating, and it can really just be as simple as you just choosing to sit or lay down somewhere and close your eyes or have soft gaze and just not focus on anything while not focusing. Right? Just let it all pass you by.
Right.
And in that space and time sometimes, and even within Buddhism, they have different types of meditation, right? Where, you've got the one type where the thoughts just come in, you just don't hold on to any of them. And then there are other types of meditation where the thoughts come and you choose one and you focus so intently on that one thought until you have explored and exhausted all of its bits and pieces, right? And that, so there's no wrong way to do it. The only wrong way to do it is to not do it.
Right.
The one thing that I have learned over the years, and I find actually works for me, is I can't always do it like this, but I think it was a Buddhist monk or Zen monk that said one time, if you don't, meditate for 30 minutes a day, and if you don't have time, then do it for an hour. So if I can't meditate for 15 minutes a day, I know I need to meditate for 30.
Yeah.
And 25, according to research, is when your mind will shift. 25 minutes of anything, and you will shift, right? Reading a book, have a little trouble. I've been reading it for about a half an hour. Now you're in the story. 25 minutes writing. I don't know what it is about the number 25. But for meditation, I have absolutely found that at a minimum, I'm going to do a 30-minute meditation, and then it'll probably go longer. But by making myself have that 30 minutes, I know I'm going to hit that 25-minute sweet spot. And from there, I can either shift and go on with my day, or I can roll up my sleeves and get into the real meditative work.
Right. So there is, and I think that's important to point out, because as Sonya said, and I have felt that this way, even when we know the beauty of it, even when we have experienced it, even when we can talk about the benefits of it ad nauseum, sometimes we just still choose not to do it.
Yeah.
And that is just part of the human experience, I think. And there may be people that never experience that, but I do believe it is more normal than not.
I agree.
Because life just occurs.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, we choose not to, or maybe we are unable to because of a circumstance. And we haven't found a way to fit it in again. I mean, it has to be a choice
It
that we
does.
make over and over and over again.
Does. But once you've got the discipline, like I've got my buddy Eric, like he's brilliant. I just love him. He loves to meditate so much that there have been times where, we've been sitting, with a group in conversation. And if there's a lull in the conversation, or maybe it turns to something else and there's no need for him to engage, I'll look over and his eyes are closed. He's meditating right there with us. He's like, wait, I'm standing in line. It's going to be 5 minutes before I get called. Oh, okay. Let me just close my eyes and go within here for a minute, because I got a few spare moments. Like,
it's true. I mean, and it can be that easy.
Yep, it really can. And it can be that. I have found that has helped me tremendously with my patients. I'm not a very, I become very impatient in waiting rooms and, lines and things like that. I just want things to keep moving on. Traffic, can't meditate while I'm driving, so I'm listen to calming music. But if I'm in the doctor's office and, when are they ever on time? Sit there and, I've got my sunglasses on so nobody can see my eyes anyway. And I just close my eyes and I go someplace else. And that distracts me from the, Mars and Aries that is going, come on, let's go. Time is running. What are
we waiting for?
I have things to do here, people. So, that might resonate with you. I don't know.
Right.
Absolutely say, though, for me personally, that my life, the quality of my life, and the understanding and acceptance of the fact that I have control of my mind,
right,
has come through my meditative practice. I can no longer say, well, I can't, do that, or I don't have the discipline, or that's bullshit. Because if I can do this, I can do that. I'm making a choice. And that's the other thing that meditation has done for me, is it's really separated the wheat from the chaff, the BS from the reality. And whether that's, whether I'm feeling good or I'm feeling bad, I have time or I don't have time. I can get there or I can't get there. Whatever the situation, whatever the excuse, my meditative practice has shown me that is just my own bias and my own BS.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. Like some days it's like, yeah, you know what? And today I just don't feel like it. So I hear you and it's okay.
Well, my favorite statement when it comes to that is I'm all in my humanity right now. And that's just where I am. And that's where it's going to be. I'm just going to be all up in that until I'm done with that for whatever reason.
And then eventually you
move on,
or you decide, all right, I'm gonna, like I had a situation earlier this week where, I woke up feeling good. Within a minute, I wasn't. And I said, I mean, and it was really, really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Pretty fast. Like it came on real fast. And so I wasn't really awake enough to do anything else but meditate.
Yeah.
So I just went into meditation, and I actually chose a guided meditation. And not only did it shift me, but all of the things that were my worries, not all of it was mine. I was picking up the collective channel that morning. But the things that were mine, I got answers to those too. So I shifted, felt uncomfortable in my body, and I problem solved like 4 things that I had on my plate for the day.
I love it.
in 30 minutes or less. Okay. Even Domino's can't do that for you. All they can do is bring you a pizza.
You know, for me, meditation has helped me move through and heal the traumas, old trauma and current ongoing trauma. And there were times, and you mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to agree with that. There were times when all I wanted to do was get up and run from meditating.
Yes.
It was so uncomfortable for whatever reason, often in relation to the specific healing work I was doing, but it was did not want to be there. But through practice, I was able to remain still. And it was part of that, actually not wanting to be there was part of the healing process that needed to occur. I wasn't failing at meditating. That was part of the healing process, is getting past just wanting to pull my skin off or get myself out of the space I was in. But getting through that was not meditating. Experiencing that was not meditating. It was using meditation to heal it and not bypass it, and heal it to get through it.
Right.
So that it was released.
Right. Because your resistance, and it's so funny because in a lot of cases, I'm sure what was going through your mind at that time was, I don't have time for this, or I've got this, or all these worries, and the brain is just fighting. But, it's that resistance is the problem.
Right.
And sitting with it and wrestling with it. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just being uncomfortable, being so uncomfortable about being still in the moment.
Yes.
That was
powerful work right there.
Right. And so I think that's important too, that wherever you are in your meditation practice, that shit can come up.
Yeah.
And when you're new at it, it can feel like you're failing, but that's not what it is. That is actually the work of the meditation working on you.
Right. And then there are going to be times you're going to go into meditation and maybe you're going to have an emotion.
Right. Oh yeah.
You're going to release, you're going to cry, you're going to laugh. I don't laugh as much as I cry, but, or you're going to, that resistance is usually frustration, anger, anxiety. But sometimes when you can go in there, even just sometimes the tears flow just from it's like coming home.
Right. Just the letting go, just the, oh my God.
Yes.
I don't have to hang on to that.
Right. And you had spoken earlier, and I wanted to go back to that too, about safe space, healing spaces. Mm-hmm. I too have done meditations and led meditations with things like healing caves, healing rooms, those sort of things, or having a meditation destination, mm-hmm. Like a meadow or a home or things like that. And those spaces can be retreats within your mind.
Mental retreats.
And you can create this space, and it can be whatever you want it to be, wherever you want it to be. Like I have a healing cave by the beach that I go to, and it's a beach with dunes. Mm-hmm. I have, I don't know why, but I always have, I lived on the West Coast, and we didn't have a whole lot of dunes on West Coast beaches.
I know.
But my beaches all have dunes.
Interesting.
It is interesting. I have a forest that opens to a meadow.
I have one of those. Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
And then I've got a couple of little places. I've got a library. I've got a cottage. Mm-hmm. I've got a place out in outer space. Well, actually, what it is it's think of like a stage exit door
Mm-hmm.
that then has a long staircase once you come off, like exit stage left.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got this big staircase. But when you step outside that door, you're in the galaxy.
Oh,
So it
I
is
love
dark as night and stars everywhere.
it.
And when
Yeah,
I turn and I look, turn back towards the door, I see the planet Earth.
that's so cool.
So that's like my quick exit to get off grid. But yeah, so, and these are things that I've created just in the last decade,
Mhm.
because I've been more conscious and more, you know, uh, working with my meditation,
Mhm.
and craft, if you will. And then, of course, when you do guided meditations for people, week in, week out, you got to come up with new materials. And that speaks to the
Yes.
creativity of the mind.
Hmm.
But a lot of times I don't pre-write my script.
Right.
I might have a couple of little bullet points, maybe an outline, but once I get in there, it's you, me, and all our people that take us on the magic journey.
And yes, same way. I open my mouth and be like, okay, so what am I going to say now? And it just comes out. I wanted the universe one that you were talking about,
Yes,
going up in the universe. Did you ever see the movie Contact with Jodie Foster?
I love that movie. Yes.
That beach where she meets with her father.
Yeah.
I go to
That,
that beach.
that's your beach? That's so cool.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's only limited by your mind, and our minds are so creative. Whether we piece together, 45 different things that we've seen to create the perfect space, or we've been to the perfect space, or it's amazing.
Right. And you can play with it and have fun with it. Tend if you have to. What I find though is that that is where I get my creativity.
Mm-hmm.
As human, Sonya is really kind of practical and pragmatic.
Mm-hmm.
But if I give myself the space to go, and meditate and get into an altered state and connect with my light and find that playfulness within myself, then I bring that energy back into this and it lightens my load here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find it so beneficial in so many ways. And for those that are like, well, I also will say that this is also not too unlike prayer for me,
Mm-hmm.
because it feels very much the same as when I pray.
Mm-hmm.
It's just with meditation, I just talk less to God and more to myself.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard those. I've heard that comparison and the similarities from others too.
Yes. So for those that might think, oh, but this is going to take away from prayer. No, what you might actually find is that, and with your actually makes your prayers more in a state of gratitude rather
Mm-hmm.
than a state of need, or, and needs can be anything, forgiveness, problem solved, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
just be able to be there and be in that space of joy and love and gratitude, and peace. I mean, I think that's the best prayer you can give to God. Not to
Right.
get religious about it, but I know that there are some people that, I've talked with over the years that have asked in questions about, and there are some religions out there that believe that this is actually a practice that takes you away from God. So I wanted to throw that out there, not to turn this into, any sort of soapbox, but suspend the disbelief, give it a whirl, see what happens. You might surprise yourself, um, and practice.
Right. Yeah, regardless of the type of prayer has never been a big thing for me, but I can say that regardless of the type of meditation I choose, my intention of it, the outcome of it, if anything, I always feel more connected to life, to the universe, to life with a capital L, to the universe, to God, to my higher source. There's always a sense of being so much more connected and in alignment.
Oh, and I forgot, there's one more meditation too that you can do. You said higher source. You can connect with your higher self, and that's just through doing your name mantra. Thank you, Jane Elizabeth.
That's right.
Your first and middle name for women, because our last names can change. And full given name for men, including any surnames, like if you're a junior or the third or something.
And this is the name on your birth certificate.
You know, it is, but if you've changed your name, I say try them both ways. I mean, to me, the information is the name that the soul was given when it entered the body.
Okay.
And if that, so for those of you that, you know, feel, oh, it took my parents a long time to name my names. Well, it took your soul a long time to get to your body. So don't just blame your parents. You had a piece in that too. Just say it like a mantra to connect with your higher self. And then in that space, I say it's kind of like turning the high beams on in your car. You know, you just see a little bit more of the road.
Right. Thank you so much. I can't believe we didn't even mention mantras.
Mantras.
Right.
Right.
Mean, yoga teacher here, and the power of the mantra to move yourself into a place of a meditative space. And it can literally be anything.
Yes.
It can be, I mean, I suggest that it be something positive and loving or comforting to you. Right?
Home.
It can be home, absolutely. That's the classic one.
Yeah. And that is actually beneficial in two ways, because not only does it help meditate, but it also engages your throat chakra, which can help you with your expression and communication of yourself.
Oh, and I tell you what, if you have ever been in a class with a yoga teacher who has been working on their own meditation for decades, that will vibrate you off of your yoga mat. Just, I mean, it's unbelievable. Just listen to them.
Right.
Listen to them. It will, or you get an entire class of people that do it, same type of thing. It shifts the vibration.
Yes, it does.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
You can bring in other practices to your meditation as well. You know, I use Reiki in my meditation and let the Reiki energy flow while I'm doing it. It helps to elevate my vibration, and it helps to expedite the healing and the clearing of any energies while I'm in that state too. So the point is, we like to meditate.
And we've had
when we don't.
some experience, some training.
Yes. And
some practice.
Yep. Never ending practice. And
yes.
I hope that, you know, somebody got something out of this today. Maybe you'll decide to try some meditation yourself. Would love to hear if you do and how it works for you, your successes, and your struggles. Because again, as teachers, as spiritual guides, I'll call us guideposts.
Okay. That works.
You know, it helps us to help others to know experiences, and things are shifting and changing so rapidly now. that, I feel like sometimes some of these tools and tricks are like, getting ready to go on a hot date. You're just rummaging through your closet and throwing crap all over the bedroom because you're trying to find that perfect outfit. And that's why we like to explore so many different avenues with it, because some days the usual and customary doesn't work, and some days the novel can break through a plateau that you didn't even know
Right.
was there.
Oh, that stuff that you don't know, you don't know.
There we go again. So with that, I hope that you have a wonderful week. I hope you give meditation a try. I hope you share our podcast with your friends and people you care about. And I hope to see you here next week. And until then, I am Sonya Lee.
I am Piperlyne, and thank you for joining us at In My Experience.
Take care.